Oh, look at this. Look at us. A new setting. Is it? We don't know. I was taking a bit of a break. Taking a bit of a good break. I did not make a video last week. I didn't really think about making one now. I kind of got sick again. One of those hard sicknesses that really takes me, and it happened to me the same way last year, because I was watching the writing series, and I noticed in the writing series, I don't remember if it was day 22 or 23, halfway through the journey, I got really sick, and it was around this time last year, January. And as I've been sick again and I'm starting to kind of get better, some new neurosis kind of shit comes up, and I have to kind of learn how to handle that now. Learn how to stop allowing it to find me. But more importantly, it kind of dawned on me as I was listening through from the beginning of the writing series until where I left off. It kind of dawned on me like how much I've learned in this past year and some days. It's quite insane, actually. I didn't really realize that. It didn't really dawn to me that how much I've learned. And I kind of look at my writing and how much it's grown, and I look at the story and how much the story has just, the only word I can think of right now is grown as well. I'm kind of astounded. You don't pay attention to that. You put your head down, you're doing stuff, and you're constantly working and working and working. You don't really pay attention to the slow growth of something, right? It's like if you try to get something and restore it, or if you're trying to build something, you don't really take snapshots in your mind of what its slow progress like you can with the camera. So to you, it's like you don't see where it's come from. And I had that realization about myself. I didn't really notice where I came from until I watched that series, and I watched how it began. It was very rough in the early days, and then it kept getting better and better. And that's where I am now. And I'm kind of flabbergasted of just who I've become since that beginning. And what I've learned along the way, and what I've discovered about myself, and how it all came together. I don't know how to explain it more than I'm just a little bit in awe of the whole thing. And as I've been getting out of it, this sickness, the more I realize what it was last time and what it is now. And it's kind of like a rebirth of coming into a new understanding, a new form of self, a new body. That's what it is. And from that point, I can begin again to keep going forward, to keep discovering more, to honing my craft, to shedding old thoughts, to becoming a better person. I didn't really notice it for quite a while, but I was in the deep forest of my own mind, and I was very lost. And though I was always going somewhere, always trying to achieve something, it was hard to see through the forest. It was really difficult to try and discover myself when I was so in the darkness. But I wasn't in the darkness, I was in my own mind. And as I was in my own mind, I was pulling things out that were teaching me what was in there the whole time. And I've come to a conclusion. So I think the biggest thing is I have two we'll say major modes of thinking. I know there's the conscious part of yourself and the subconscious, but I think it's even bigger than that. There are two modes that I tend to go in and that dictate the way I think and feel and behave. One, I will always just kind of call, because of the book, the spirit of sorrow. And that is myself when I see such sadness and I feel such sadness and I'm inconsolable and I only see that in my world. It's a choice. It's a choice. And I just call it the spirit of sorrow. And then there's this other side of me, which I just kind of identify as a trickster in a sense. Not taking anything seriously, making fun of everything, poking fun in a sense of like people's belief systems and their structure to help kind of break it down and show them how pointless and worthless this whole fucking place is. Everything we do seems just pointless. So I have these two viewpoints that I can't help but allow it to be the way I see the world around me. And I never knew that about myself until relatively recently, because of all the soul searching I've been doing and because of all these realizations about my past. It's truly, it's opened it up. I'm not saying that those are the only, those parts of myself, that's it, that's me, and I'm always like that and never anything different. Like, no, those are just the two big ones. That's not my day-to-day functioning. That's just these two major modes. Think of it like gears that I shift into. But that doesn't mean I'm always shifting those gears. Sometimes I'm only in second gear, you know? Because I'm going to shift down to first gear. It's just something that's come to me. And right now it's like, okay, what do you do about that? And I know that they talk about in a like a Jungian philosophy of your shadow self, and that's the part of yourself that's kind of suppressed, but you got to kind of understand it and bring it forth and make it become part of you. That's the stuff that you push away, that is a true part of yourself. And then if you don't activate it eventually, or you don't take, at least acknowledge it, it can rule over you, I know there's that sense that I got to kind of look into. I don't know a whole lot about Jungian philosophy and all that, but that's just another thing I have on the radar. But the hardest part for me always was trying to continuously find a reason to keep going on. To keep living. Like, what's the fucking point of this world? When you start to see things in such a light, and you see how humanity is, and you see the games they play with each other, the tricks that they have, and you see all this horrible fucking shit that people do to themselves and to each other, and what our history is, and people's thought processes, what they think culture is. You start to see what people think history is, and what religion is. And you take all of that, and then you say, what's my place in this? And how does it even matter? How does any of this fucking matter? That trickster mentality in my head, mixing with the sorrow. I would always come to this threshold and be like, I'm living here right now, and all this shit's going on around me, and it means absolutely fucking nothing to me. Nothing. I don't give a flying fuck about most things in this world. So the sorrowful side of me says, well, what's the fucking point of continuously going on then? What's the point of this shit, if that's how you feel? And then there's the trickster side that's like looking at everything and seeing the flawed man inside of it. Seeing the wickedness of humankind. Pretending behind our visages of fucking hope and freedom and love and, God and all these positive things. When you start to see the truth behind it, from small things like people only becoming religious so they can save their own soul, all the way to the way people view, I don't even know, man, like just any sort of positive thing in this world, like what's really behind that? When you care for somebody, it's really caring for yourself. And I know we can't help it. And that's just what we do, but it was really hard to just continuously not allow that to be in my head so I can keep living day to day. Going to my job and knowing none of it matters, but pretending that I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? It was very difficult. it's very, very difficult to go down this fucking road. Because with all that information, I'm like, well, what do I do with all that? If everything you know around you is a fucking lie and bullshit and made up, what's the fucking point of living? And then there's that trickster part of me that says, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could just shine a light on this? Destroy people's fucking illusions. Just change people's minds by showing them what full of shit they are. And I just thought, well, you can't do that, you know, not yet. So that can't be really done. But then again, there's a new shadow. How do I even know? How do I even believe this is true? Just because I see it. Well, the biggest thing that in me was like, well, most people are willing to not admit it, so that's how I know. If there's a giant group of people all believing one thing and you walk in the room and see something totally different, it's kind of hard to say that, well, I'm the one that's wrong. They're the ones that are right. It's hard to do that because people can trick themselves, right? But also, you can be going against that for the sake of going against it. So it's like, it's hard to know what's right and what's wrong. And then you start thinking, wait a minute, what is right and what is wrong? And so there's that whole fucking mess that you gotta go down in your mind. And all the while, for me at least, I felt like in my mind I was battling the world. A world that I don't want to be a part of. A world that to me means absolutely nothing. And everything that at least had some meaning is fucking gone. Because some group of fucking people destroyed it. Because of their belief systems. Talk about religion. You talk about culture. You know the big ones that talk about the Romans, the Saxons, the Christians, the Muslims, the Jews, like all these groups of fucking people that destroy the past because it's not what they want it to be. It can't be right because we know what's right because we were told so. That kind of stuff. And it was, for me, realizing this world's built on a bunch of lies, it was really difficult to constantly try to push through that. To convince myself, no, it's not built on lies. It's just, it's this, it's that. And it's got to trick your mind like a lot of everyone fucking does, which I'm sure I'll see that in the comment section here. Of good ways to trick yourself and seeing that it isn't a lie. It's actually a good truth and you just haven't accepted it yet. Have you accepted Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior? Then you wouldn't feel this way. It's like stupid shit like that. And I get sick of it. So I would kind of isolate myself with all of that and just say, I just don't want to fucking do any of this stuff. And I'm in my temple here, essentially. My office, this place of sanctuary for me. My home is the temple. The office is the head of the temple. And I would be in here, safe with my own thoughts. But it's hard to take these thoughts out because it's so vastly different than what everyone else wants to believe. What they think this world is, what they think fucking matters. Because I haven't met a damn person that believes something that I give a fuck about. And that's always been difficult. My whole life I was always following people and their beliefs. Because I thought, surely they're the ones that are right. They feel this, and I can't, so maybe it's them. Maybe I'm a black sheep. Maybe that's who I am. The reason I haven't found it yet is because I'm always going to be wrong, and they'll always be right. And so I just accepted it. And it's not until late where I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. Fuck all of that. I don't want to be like those people. I'm myself. And that was a really arduous thing to discover about myself. So here I am, once again, sitting here, contemplating it all, and trying to find purpose, and trying to find joy, but seeking, let's say it like this, seeking all but discovering nothing. What do I do about all that? What can I say to give me some sense of purpose? Some sense of fucking hope, some reason to go on. What do I have at the end of the day? Well, I have my mythology. That's really it. That's a hell of a lot of pressure to put on an inanimate object. You know? I know that it's bigger than that. I know it's a consciousness idea. I know it's an actual mind. That's what the books really are. It's a being. It's me. It's my everything. All my thoughts. And my beliefs. All put inside of stories. And that's all I have in this world to continuously keep going forward with. Is that even healthy? Let's say it like this, it is the project that was meant to help me discover who I am. It is the project that is allowing me to know myself, to explore the inner depths of myself. It is the tool in which I understand who I am. And through that, it is the tool that allows me to come into touch with the spiritual side of myself and with the God above me. And the more I progress into it, the more it's become a mind. And the world that it was created within melts away, and it becomes this place that's like a tomb. So then I asked myself, well then who are you in all this? And I just only can answer someone that doesn't want to be here anymore. It's hard to continuously fight my mind all the time. The weird neurosis that I will fucking pick up because I start believing that it has sway over me. Or the weird thoughts that penetrate. Or the way that I express myself or view life, it's hard to shake it. And there's a part that says, do you want to continuously do this? Is this what you want for the rest of your fucking life? Or do you want to play along with them? Do you want to find your little party, your little group, and play with them? And part of me still says, not really. None of it seems like anything I care about. So that puts me stuck in the middle. I'm stuck inside a cloud. Nobody can hear me scream. Man, what a lonely place it can be. So they took this break. I took this long break in the hopes that something will happen. Some part of me has to heal before I can begin again. And that's where I am at right now. I don't know when I can come back and start working again on these things. You can't tell. It might be a few days, or it might be a few years, or it might be a few minutes. You know, I don't. It's so, you know, it's unable to determine it. But I have to say, this is the holiday from my mind that I'm going to be taking. And one that's very, very much needed. I can't necessarily do this with my job right now like I want to do. I'd love to take 3 months off. That would be absolutely fantastic, but it's not how that works when you're a piece of shit nobody. You can't just do that. I mean, I could, but then my job ain't going to be there when I come back. So if I just chill out one part of myself, maybe I'll discover something, and when I come back, I will be even stronger for it. But it's hard to say. When it is upon you, man, it is incredibly heavy. Incredibly heavy. And when you venture so deeply into your own self, simultaneously, when you learn what life is to most people and the bullshit that awaits every fucking turn, and how everyone just knows how the world is what they think it is, and how everyone's so right, it makes it really difficult to know your place in all of this. With a mind of uncertainty and a world of utter assurity, it's hard to know where you sit in the great game that's being fucking played. I don't know, man. I really hope that something comes from this. Because I don't know how much more I can fucking take. How much more I'm willing to take, I should say. But from here on out, just know, taking a bit of a break. A long, good break. And for some reason, if you feel like hearing more from me, for whatever fucking reason, there's a lot of videos in the past. I recommend watching the Writing series, the Inner Thought series, and the Forgotten series, and the Forgotten King series. That'll let you know where we're at and how we got here in the first place.